Hey everyone, it's John here from CNS Outdoors. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Today we've got a pretty exciting show. We're going to be talking with a good friend of ours, a local beekeeper by the name of Charlie Stofflet. Charlie's going to walk us through and show us how he takes care of his bees, introduces his bees to his existing colony. Just a lot of information here. I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy it. It was probably one of the most interesting things I've ever done. So stay tuned and sit back and hope you enjoy the show. Thanks, everyone.
All right, so the first thing I'm doing is getting the smoker going here because we need to settle our bees down a little bit, and the smoker will help them be a little working the hive. Started, and we let her smoke up pretty good just to make sure that in the process the smoker doesn't go out, because that's one of the problems that you have. You get the smoker going and then you start doing other stuff, and then when you're ready to go, the smoker goes out. And with the bees as active as they are today, we kind of want to calm them down a little bit. So we'll get this going here. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to transfer a nuke. A nuke is short for a nucleus hive. So it's already a hive that's been established in a box, and that's what you see on the stand there. So there's a queen in there. She's been laying. She has been bred, so she'll be laying more eggs. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the frames, and then I'm going to put it into my actual hive box that we have here. So it comes with 5 frames. So I have some frames already there. And basically what I'm going to do is just transfer that, and then they will establish that hive within that box. And as time goes on, as they forage more, as they make more bees, I will be adding more boxes. So the bottom box is considered the brood box. So that's where the queen is going to be laying her eggs, and the brood are going to be developing. And then the next box on top is going to be their storage area. So I would add another box, same size, and that's going to be for their honey. What I would do is put another box on top with a queen excluder in between here. So the queen can't get up, all the workers can get up, and that's where you're going to get your honey from. Okay, so again, the bottom box for the brood, the next box is for their storage of honey, and then the next would be the honey that I would take for harvest. So it kind of depends on how much honey you get. I'm kind of looking forward to this year because the farmer not too far away has an alfalfa field, and if he doesn't cut his alfalfa too soon, we should have a good harvest this year. So I'm going to smoke them, kind of calm them down a little bit, and then I'm going to do the transfer here. Don't swat them. Don't swat them, because that'll tick them off. Yeah, I've had them when I've cut the grass. They've landed on my leg, on my bare leg up there, and it's all I can do not to try to. But I know if I swat them, I'm going to get stung. So just stay calm, and you'll be okay. All right? Maybe your camera will pick up. I can show you the frame, what it looks like there. The bees are working. Give you a shot of another frame. And maybe we will see the queen. The queen is supposed to be marked. I don't like to spend a lot of time having the bees out. I like to get them in the box right away because the fear is that queen would drop off and she would not get where she needs to be. So I'm going to move the box right on. Going to be in position. Okay. Give them a little more shot of smoke here to kind of calm them down. And I'm going to need my hive tool here. So this little red doohickey here is called a hive tool. Used to get out frames when they build wax between the frames. I kind of got to cut the frames apart so I can get them out of here. And again, now this one you can really see the brood. All of that kind of tannish, that is going to be all brood. So that's where the eggs are located. And if I had to say, this is really great because there's a lot of pattern there. It's very full. That tells me that queen is an excellent producer. So that's what I like to see. I haven't opened these boxes yet since I got them yesterday. So it's nice to see that. Give you one more shot, the last frame here. And there's the queen. The queen is marked in orange. Hopefully the GoPro is picking it up. And you can see that queen. She's got an orange mark on her back. So that's good to know that our queen is present. And she's very active and lively. So I have a number of bees in that box yet. I'm going to put in my last frame, my empty frame. And then we're going to do a little shake here. Get most of those bees down in there. And then I'll leave this box right on top after I've put everything in. So any bees tonight will be going in. So if they happen to be in the box, they can get out, and then tonight I'll come by and just pick up the box. Okay, so the frames are in. I am going to give them a little food right now. There isn't a lot of forage right now, and I've got a lot of bees in there. So what I would like to have is to make sure that they have enough food. So I'm just going to use some sugar right now because it gets cold at night. And if you feed them sugar water right away, what happens is the sugar water gets too cold and they will not take the sugar water. So I just have pieces of sugar, a little water to it, and then you just let it harden. And they will feed on that as kind of a supplement to get them through. Once the weather warms up, what I will do is give them sugar water until about June 1st. And then after June 1st, they don't get any feed from me. They are just going to be feeding on their own, going out and foraging. That's probably good. And we just add the cover. You know, everybody asks about the bees. You know, you keep bees and everybody's like, hey, how are the bees doing? Hey, how are the bees doing? So, you know, it's kind of a fun hobby to get into. You know, I would say, you know, how did I actually start? Kind of like the hunting and fishing, it's kind of in your blood. I didn't know, but my great-grandfather was a beekeeper. and he had about 40 hives at that time, and he made the front cover, and this is kind of my goal. He made the front cover of the American Beekeeper, which is a publication for beekeepers, and that was 1903. So I have a picture of that. So my goal is not to have it on. I don't want to be on the cover. I don't need that, but just to show that this is something. This is a tradition that you can pass down, like hunting and fishing and all of those outdoor activities that we enjoy. And so I don't know what motivated me to do it. Just something to say, you know what, I think I want to try this. This is something a hobby that I want to try.
I know that's how you said you started into it. Back then, I'm guessing a lot of people kept bees because there wasn't any sugar around, so that was how they sweetened their different foods.
Oh yeah, and we still use that now. We use it in our recipes. And if you know anything about the local honey, you're going to have some allergens that are present there. So if you have allergies, eating that honey that comes from your area is going to help with your allergies.
Yeah, I actually found it out. We work with a gal that she does beekeeping, and another friend of ours, Bill.
Sure.
I was telling him how honey and my allergies have just about disappeared until this year.
Well, there's always something new, so you got to keep eating the honey, John.
Yeah,
so what you get
yeah.
this year is probably going to help you with next year.
But all it takes is a teaspoon of honey.
Sure.
Once a day.
Sure.
And it really has cleared up my allergies. So that's a great point that you made. So is there like different clubs that you can get into?
Yeah, there is a lacrosse beekeepers association. So if you're interested in that, this is what I would suggest. If you're really interested in this and you want to start it, take a class through the extension. So I took a class. I think it was probably 6 weeks, maybe 3 hours a Saturday or something like that. So if you're really interested, that's the first thing that I would do, because you're going to have experienced beekeepers to help you get started with that. They're going to tell you the supplies that you need, what to expect, and then they will also take you out on site to show you, kind of like we did today, or we're going to do today, as it were. What this whole process is about.
Sure.
So first thing I would do is, take a class. So look up in your local area. The extension, Wisconsin Extension had a class. And there were a couple of experienced beekeepers, probably in their 70s or 80s, that were running the show there. And then the other thing I would do is get a mentor. So get somebody that you know that has bees, that is near you, or has the ability to come, talk with you about the different issues that you may have, or is this right? Is this what it's supposed to look like? What is the hive supposed to look like? In my years, I've had critters get in, the bear, right? So what do I do about the bear? The bear killed my queen. What do you do about that? Well, you find out that the bees will make their own new queen. So the biology is really cool. They kind of take care of themselves.
So you don't have to go and order.
You don't have to. I did, but they made their own queen. So they have the ability to take one of those larvae and turn it into a queen by feeding them what they call royal jelly. And that's the difference between a queen and a regular worker is. So again, back to that, you want to mentor somebody that you can snap a picture and say, hey, is this normal? Is this what it's supposed to look like in the hive? Is there disease? Are other things getting in that shouldn't be there? And I think that's important, to have somebody that you can kind of have some confidence with and link up with when you need to.
The bees. We're in the northern climate. So, okay, let's hit on first, what do you do with the bees during the winter? And then secondly, what are some of the things that affect your hive as far as?
Okay, so in the wintertime, the time that I had my bees over winter and they did fine, I actually brought them up here closer to the deck. And you think about the sun, I think they had a little more sun even on those cold days to help them stay warm. The problem really that you have is not necessarily the cold, because they build this big cluster around the queen. So when they go into the fall, you want to have a high number of bees going into that fall so that they can keep that queen warm and they can stay warm. The problem is moisture. So as they are beating their wings, as they are breathing like we would, you know, you give off water. And so what happens is that water freezes on them, and that's what kills them. Okay. So it's about the moisture. So if you can have some type of circulation or have some type of way to make sure that there's airflow in there, but it's not so much that it's going to kill them, and that's kind of the balance.
I think that's more because of people spraying the weeds on their gardens and that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're not as strong. The genetics, their genetics have changed. They're not there, and yes, it's the herbicides, pesticides that are being used. So, you know, I have neighbors that have dandelions right now. We just put those bees in the hive. If they go spray their dandelions with a weed killer, and my bee goes there, they're going to pick it up. Now, it might not kill them, but what they're going to do is they're going to bring it back to the hive. So you think about that. If there's 15,000 bees hitting those dandelions, and you're bringing back all the time, over time, and I don't care what kind of chemical you have, it's going to affect us. And you know, same for humans, right? It builds. So I guess that's something we have to consider. I guess the other thing I want to bring up too, and you know, John, you said you talked about the food plot that I have here. You know, you got to do microhabitats for these organisms also. So just like you do for the deer, what we have is a lot of corn and we've got a lot of soybeans, you know, in these agricultural areas. And a bee looks at that and says, that's no good for me. They're not going to use that. So we need to have these areas. So if you've got a large area, you know, you're going to plant a garden or something like that, consider some bee-friendly plants, okay? And it's not all bee-friendly. So when I say bees, I mean specifically honeybees, because there's bumblebees, there's native bees that are going to be really tiny. So look up and find. You know, if you can take part of your garden and just say, you know what, this is going to be for the pollinators. This is going to be for the bees.
Well, that was one of the things I wanted to touch on. Big into the food plots, you probably followed along.
Yeah. So you know, I've had deer in the back here eat the buckwheat, but they don't eat it so much that it just decimates it. So there's enough left over for the bees.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good point for people that are planting food crops or food plots for their deer. It's another consideration of how it's going to help the bees. So you know, that was one thing I wanted to talk about.
Sure. I just try to promote that too in our neighborhood because, you know, as you came through here, you said, you know what, this has changed so much. I mean, it used to be fields and there used to be wildflowers and native plants. That's why I can grab some milkweed seeds before all the houses have gone up. So now I have some milkweed and my bees like milkweed. So I try to promote that within our neighborhood saying, you know, you got a nice green lawn here, but let's put a little bit in for what was here for the birds and the bees also.
Yeah, well, get back to the food plot. What kind of crops do you recommend, or are you familiar with besides buckwheat?
So I have sweet clover. There's some sweet clover down just over the hill. It is a biennial, so it will flower every other year. However, if it flowers, and then the flowers are kind of done with their pollination and they're done with their cycle, you can cut it back, and then if you can get the seed to grow again, you could get it every year. So, you know, it doesn't have to be every other year that you're going to get it to flower. So, sweet clover is another one. So it's a yellow or white variety. Basil. You got to think about, like, living out in the country too. You think about you know, other critters. So you plant it and then the rabbits eat it all.
Oh, yeah.
So then you got to think about, okay, what can I plant that's going to come up that the rabbits aren't going to eat or other critters aren't going to eat? So basil, herbs, sage. I'm going to plant some zinnias. So that's the type of flower that honeybees will specifically go to.
A lot of people buy honey from the store.
Yep.
They don't realize that's produced over China. If you ever look at it, a lot of it is. So you're looking to get local honey, which is actually better. That is not going to help the allergies buying it from Walmart or any big box store. You got to be a guy like Charlie and buy your honey locally, because that's where your allergies coming into place. That's going to help.
And you don't know the source of the sugar either. I mean, Could I just keep feeding them sugar water and have them make honey out of that sugar water? Certainly, okay, but that's not something that you want to do. I mean, you want to have it from those different sources of flowers and trees and so on. Yeah, and so yes, there is a difference based on the source and where the bees are going.
I thought that was pretty interesting. I didn't realize that. I just thought,
well, if you travel around the United States, you know, stop in. You know, you're traveling around, and if they've got honey for sale, check it out and see. One of my neighbors, he was down south, and they have tupelo trees, and they got tupelo honey, and that's dark. It has a very distinct taste to it. So, yeah, if you're out and about. When I went over to Guatemala, we went to a coffee plantation, and they had bees on that coffee plantation, and that's some of the best honey that I've ever had.
well, Charlie, I really appreciate you,
Yeah, thanks.
taking us through this. And I know if people have questions, is there a way who they should contact? I mean, you know, you said about the local.
Yeah, lacrosse beekeepers. If they just search on, you know, do a search, lacrosse beekeepers, they're going to get you the information that you need for classes. They meet once a week. I haven't gone to that yet. Probably after I retire. You know, this is something that I kind of want to keep doing. And, you know, being a teacher, it's about education and getting more people involved and more people understanding really what's going on here. And I think that's important. So, Lacrosse Beekeepers Association.
Someone nationally? We do have, we've got viewers that are.
I couldn't say that.
Okay.
You know, go for a publication like the American Bee Journal. You know, if you're in a store that's, you know, like Barnes & Noble or something like that, you can pick up a subscription of that, and then that'll go more national. You'll have more contacts there.
All right. Well, it's been awesome.
All right.
Thanks, everyone, for watching. As always, sightline, shoot straight.
All right.
Thank you.
You got it.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the show. Sorry about those little technical difficulties we had there. My microphone just wasn't working there when we did the little interview one-on-one, but hope you really liked it. Please stay tuned for some more exciting videos we're going to have put out there. We got some fishing videos, some more things you can do on your land to enhance your land for deer, turkeys, grouse. So once again, if you like our videos, like and subscribe. Thanks once again, and tight lines and shoot straight, everyone.